I'm fine.
This
Are
is
you nervous?
a little bit, mate. It's been a while. You know, when you haven't done certain
start,
things. What, actually start again?
Go on. Well, no, we have to start again, but just do your start.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV. We are in Riyadh, ahead of Day of Reckoning. I'm joined by second promoter. What are you on this show?
Just here with the main event, mate, to be honest with you, and a couple of our other stars, whatever you want to call me. Delighted to be here, by any means necessary.
A bit part player, or is that a bit harsh?
We found a way. Okay. We found a way to be involved.
How are you, first of all?
I was unbelievable, but I got off the plane and my back's gone completely. And I'm just sitting here now, you know, like the coccyx, you know, like that bit. Oh, mate, right above it. And I've done my hamstring, and it's finally, 2023 has finally got me. But it doesn't matter, because we're going to have loads of fun and games. I can't wait to get down to the workout, cause a bit of trouble and aggravation, see Jarrell Miller, catch up with AJ. And how are you anyway? I feel like you were just kind of welling up there, introducing me.
No, I haven't interviewed you for. I worked it out for 5 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
I think it's the longest period I haven't. But obviously you've got Colin now, who's obviously our US correspondent. So. But anyway, we're back. We're here anyway.
Great to have you back, mate.
Thank you.
And I will just say, Parsons has been on me, right, mate? He sends like little emojis into the chat, like the eyes emoji. You in, shun? Like tries to be all friendly. What time do you want to catch up? And like obviously, then you messaged me last night, mate. I haven't sat down with you for 5 weeks. Make sure you do me first. You know, so you got the nod.
I got the nod. I've spent a bit of time with Parsons this week, actually. He's quite a delightful young chap.
He's a bit annoying sometimes, isn't he? And do you know what? To be honest with you, like you're quite well known. He's now becoming quite well known. Like people are actually stopping me on the street, saying, "Oh, I love your stuff with Parsons." I'm like, but you've never referred to yourself in third person. So you imagine doing an interview with me and going, "Well, last week when you sat down with the KUGAN CASSIUS,
the KUGAN effect."
Yeah, that's what I mean. Honestly, he's completely lost the plot.
So we was on a media bus yesterday, and I said to Parsons, like, well, let's play a little game. And I said, out of the card right now, like, who do you think you're more famous than? Right? He hated it, right? So the first one I said to him, I said, like, and no disrespect to any fighters, obviously on the card, but I said, do you think you're more famous than like Mark Demori? What do you think? Do you think Parsons is more well known than Mark Demori?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, depends. Not in Mark Demori's hometown. Which is, I don't
say England then.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
But
who is more well known in England out of Jay Opetaia and Parsons?
Probably Jay Opetaia. Okay. Yeah. I mean, but you could go, I'm not going to be disrespectful to other people on the card. He's a lot more famous in England than some people on the card. Yeah. But that's not a representation of the card. That's
no,
just
Parsons.
Right. People are stopping me on the street saying, "Oh, where's Parsons?" I told you in Liverpool, some kids come up to me in a hotel. I came outside to get my Deliveroo on a Friday night, and they came up to me and went, "Is Parsons staying here?" I'm like, "No." "Oh, where's he staying? I want to get a photo." It's like they've actually come from home to the hotel to try and find Parsons.
I reckon, this is a bit of a shout, we're not going to waffle on about Parsons anymore.
Good.
I reckon if you went up to 1 in 5 casual boxing fans, right? Casual boxing fans, and you showed them a picture of Parsons and a picture of Jay Opetaia, I think they would recognise Parsons first.
Possibly.
Forget the 1 in 5 thing.
I think he was that waxing geezer from I Post, you know, where he goes, "Oh, the fit's so divine." That guy. I'll post him again later so people know what I'm talking about.
He's going to love this. Have you got to answer that? It's not Frank Warren, is it? Okay, I don't know where to start. Let's start with kind of the start of this week, because you've missed a little bit of the week already.
It was one day.
Well, you've missed. This is the third day.
Yeah, but the first day was the arrivals yesterday.
No, the first day was the media day. This is where it all kicked off with Jarrell and Anthony Joshua. What did you make of that? And also, when I interviewed Jarrell Miller, the part of the story where I'm sure you said that you kind of told him to fuck off at the end of it, he said there's no way you would have said that to him.
I did, and I told him that as well, because he DM'd me after I said that, and he went, "Oh, you never said that." I said, "Yes, I did." you said to me, I'm going to have someone pull up on you. What do you expect to think I'm going to say when someone says that to me? Oh, don't. I went, fuck off, or go fuck yourself, or something like that. Excuse my language. And he was like, but honestly, like, I actually get on all right with Jarrell Miller. And I couldn't be less scared of Jarrell Miller. Like, one, I've known him for a long time. Two, he ain't going to do nothing. And three, that's one of the reasons why I don't mind piping up. And three, I can't, like, I'm too old and fucking been around too long to be bothered about someone chinning me. So, like, that's exactly what happened. He came up to me and he said, "You're scared, aren't you?" Well, bear in mind, I've never had that type of conversation with him before either. I went, "What?" And he said, "You're scared, aren't you?" I went, "Scared of you?" "Don't think so, mate." And he went, yeah, well, why? He said, why didn't you back me like you backed, I can't remember, it was Conor or Dillian or whatever. I just went, because I don't believe you. And I said, and then I can't remember what happened after that. And then he said, "I'm going to have someone put up on you." And although I'm a complete pansy, I ain't having someone saying that to me. So I just said what I said. Didn't say to him, "Yeah, come on then, let's have it now," because obviously he'd snap my neck with one punch. Or if he grabbed hold of my arm, he would snap it in two. But if he's going to chin me, he's going to chin me. And he ain't going to chin me anyway. If he was going to chin me, I wouldn't have said nothing. But, yeah, we talk. Like, we're never going to agree on what happened. Do you know what I mean?
He did say he does like you. He thinks his words, you're a bit of an arsehole, and that situation...
I don't see how we were a bit of an arsehole. I mean, we gave him an unbelievable opportunity. I brought him through. I gave him loads of fights. I paid him a lot of money. I agreed a multi-million-dollar deal with him to fight Anthony Joshua, and he failed, was it 2 or 3 drugs tests with a number of different substances. So how am I an arsehole? I mean...
He did also say that you pay your fighters on time, and you do pay your fighters. He didn't mention that in the interview.
We pay our fighters well, and we pay them on time. Yeah, I wasn't going to say what I've got to say. There's other issues for Jarrell Miller I've got to sort out with him, but... yeah, we're renowned for that. No one pays straighter than us. Every time. Never knocked a fighter, never paid late. We don't, and that reputation is something that we're very proud of. And something that's very important to my old man, and something that's been instilled in me. We don't knock anyone ever. Ever. So that's something that, can't be said for all promoters. Some people don't get the numbers right. Some people don't have the finances. Some people are just dogs. That's boxing. But you'll never hear that about us. But, part of me likes Jarrell Miller. I've said that before. When I see him rocking up here, I think he's good but, you see, basically it's whatever suits whoever, isn't it? I hear comments this week about, he's on this show. I mean, obviously it's nothing like Conor Benn. I mean, he shouldn't be fighting at all, and so it's just whatever suits anyone, But do I think he should be fighting again? There is part of me that says, if he served his ban, then you've served your ban. Do I think he should get a shot at AJ after what he did? Not my decision. Probably not. But if he beats Daniel Dubois and he keeps calling it out, who knows? By the way, I can't wait for that fight. Cannot wait for that fight. I mean, obviously, the main thing for us to focus on is AJ and Dimitri and Jai. But I can't wait for Big Baby Miller against Dubois. Because I've got to say...
Who are you backing in that? Because I can't...
I've got to say, right, I actually really, really... And I mean, it's hard to say I really, really like Daniel Dubois. But... one sec. But I met him for the first ever time at the launch press conference, and he seems like a lovely fella. And I've watched his interviews since, and I think he's actually coming across really well.
He's coming across very well, and he's talking a lot more as well.
And I just think, he just seems like a really nice bloke. I mean, he's never going to be, but I think someone like Jarrell Miller will really help him with the build-up, because he can like laugh about it, which he's doing, and let Jarrell play his game. What do I think's going to happen? I'm not really sure how good Jarrell Miller is. I've got to be honest with you. Like, he's a massive lump, and I do think he's got a good chin, and he's got a really good work rate. Well, he did have. If he gets past 4 to 5 rounds, he wins the fight. But he might get chinned because Daniel hits very hard. But it's a great fight. Really, really good fight.
What did you make of their little coming together between AJ and Miller? It was obviously at the hotel on Monday at the media day. So Jarrell Miller had walked past AJ a couple of times, and then I think as AJ was leaving, Miller had kind of approached him. What did you make of what they was actually saying in their little back and forth?
I didn't actually hear it all, but it is what it is. I mean, if Jarrell's walking around saying, "I smell pussy," or to everybody, someone's going to go up to him and say something. I think you need to make sure you've got plenty of security around, because if those two go off, I don't know who's stopping it, honestly. And you want to keep these guys as far away as possible now, because fight night's drawing in, and someone's going to say something, and someone's going to let their hands go, and someone's going to be out of a fight. So,
as far as I know, that on that particular moment, I think it was Andy Bell that was in charge of making sure that they weren't.
Well, I mean, Andy Bell from Soapbox, one of the top all-time security guards. I mean, one of the nicest blokes you'd ever meet. Also, one of the best PR minds in the world. Definitely not capable of pulling Jarrell Miller and AJ apart. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't just let two massive heavyweights start having a row in a foyer of a hotel, wherever it was. You know what I mean? It's gonna not end well.
Okay, let's go back to yesterday. Much talked about the persona and the body language, as everyone loves to analyse, of Anthony Joshua. But yesterday was very interesting to see his very focused and almost deadpan attitude to, well, let's just have it right on the Queensberry feed. I mean, Dev Sani, again, was at the receiving end of it. Can you shed any light on this? What the issue is here?
Again, these are all our new friends, and I actually quite like Dev, but he has slated AJ for years and years and years. Like, you can't just you have to almost just take it on the chin and go, I've slated this geezer for years. I can't now just pretend to be nice and pretend that I haven't slated him for years. AJ's not gonna. I didn't even realise at first. You know, at the first presser when that happened, I didn't even know that AJ knew that Dev's been slating him for years and years and years. But obviously, he did. And yeah, he just don't really. I've not even spoken to him about it, but I guess he don't particularly like him. I don't know, but yeah. But then Darren Barker was also doing the interviews, and he carried on. You know,
What was, from what you can gather from that, because everyone's coming to their own conclusions about why Anthony Joshua was a certain way yesterday. Why do you think that was? Is it just that almost like 3-4 days out from the fight, he just wants to fight?
Maybe he's just pulling everyone's plonker now, and he's on a wind up. I don't know, because everybody wants to just. I want him to be edgy. I want him to be violent. Yeah. I mean, what I saw was a geezer that looked like he wants to take someone's head off. Fantastic. That's what we want, isn't it? I mean, everybody likes to complain recently that AJ isn't that guy anymore. Now, all of a sudden, he's showing he might be that guy again. Oh, he's lost it. Do you know what I mean? You just can't win at all. So if you want someone who's got the bit between his teeth, who's fired up, who wants to go in and dismantle someone, maybe you got it on Saturday night, and that's what we want. You know, you never know what the performance is going to be like till you get in there. And all the feedback has been absolutely superb. The camp, the sparring, everything. So we're all, as a team, very confident of victory and a great performance. But it's a dangerous fight, very tricky fight. But I'm excited. You know, I think there's jeopardy in the fight. I think there's risk in the fight, and that's the fights that, you know, I'm genuinely buzzing for this fight. You know, we got the opportunity to fight over here when, to be honest, maybe we wouldn't have if we didn't get the invitation from His Excellency to fight on this card, because I don't think we were going to do a show on the 23rd, especially now with this show on the 23rd. So it's a massive opportunity in many ways, and we hope it leads to, obviously, a mega fight or two next year.
The most relaxed person I've seen this week over the last 3 to 4 days has been Otto Wallin. Really kind of chilled out and just relaxed in his own little world, but smile on his face. What sort of test is this? We know the whole Southpaw thing, which has been spoken about in reference to previous opponents with AJ, but how tough of a test is this? Because this looks like a difficult test on paper, but it's also, you could see a situation where Joshua kind of does what is expected to do, or has been expected to do, or would have been expected to do to Otto Wallin. Yeah,
I mean, you probably made that question 3 times longer than it needed to be. But I think, really, the thing is, with Otto Wallin, the main thing he has, which is a threat at the moment, is confidence and belief. I think he genuinely thinks he'll beat Anthony. He's coming off a big win in Russia, went to Gassiev's backyard and beat him, former unified cruiserweight world champion. Very unlucky not to beat Fury, for that fight not to be stopped. The cut was horrendous, tricky, intelligent. It's a real fight. It's a real fight. Say the 6 weeks notice that we had. It's not ideal, but AJ's almost a veteran now. Otto Wallin's been on a list of those other 2 fights this year. So it's not like we weren't prepared to fight him. That was the fight that got offered to us. It wasn't choose any heavyweight out there. They said, would you like to fight Otto Wallin on December 23rd? And we said, yes. So I think it's a dangerous fight, but one I fully expect AJ to win.
I'll wrap these 2 questions in one. You can kind of talk about it. Right, 2 things. Wilder. Obviously, we know Wilder's in a difficult fight as well against former world champion Joseph Parker this Saturday. But where is this 9th of March story come from if both out of AJ and Wilder are victorious on Saturday night, that this is done for March the 9th? And then there's also a kind of another thing with the IBF situation with Filip Hrgović, depending on what happens with, obviously, Fury and Usyk. So you've said on your Instagram that all will be revealed after the fight night.
Yeah, what I meant by that was there's not necessarily going to be an announcement on fight night, but people asked us what our plans were, and I said all will be revealed after the fight. I'm not going to tell you or go into what's happening behind the scenes. I've said it a million times. We, as a team, want to fight Deontay Wilder.
On March the 9th.
That is a potential date. I'm not going to tell you how close it is. I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be announced, if it's going to be announced. I'll tell you we want to make the fight. But it's all completely irrelevant. And if both of them don't win on Saturday night. And, we've been trying to make this fight for a long time. A long time. And maybe it takes someone like His Excellency to come in with the vision to make it happen. And obviously with both of them on the card on Saturday, it tees it up well, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so how strong are, when people are talking about this situation regarding the IBF situation, if that belt was to become vacant after Usyk's fight with Fury, that there's a possibility that Joshua could fight Filip Hrgović?
AJ wants to become 3-time world heavyweight champion. The fight with Deontay Wilder is the biggest fight in boxing. We'll see.
Ooh, fair enough. I'm not going to ask any more questions. I'm not rusty at all, mate.
You're a bit rusty. I can just spin you around my finger.
Not really. When you don't answer the questions properly, then you can probably spin it. Do you know what I mean? You're being coy with it, because obviously...
No, because listen, I don't want to...
So is that a possibility there? Both those things are a possibility?
Yeah, everything's a possibility.
Such a politician. Right, let's move on to Jay Opetaia. Yeah, not an ideal situation, obviously, having to vacate his belt. We've read his statement to the reasons why. The fight with Ellis Zorro, obviously, this weekend. But can you just kind of, touch on that for me?
Yeah, so obviously the Jordan Thompson fight was an exception to the Maris Bradis mandatory because he wasn't quite ready on time. So when Jai beat Jordan Thompson, he was going to fight Bradis. Obviously, the turnaround was very quick. His Excellency, I believe, watched Jai Opetaia beat Jordan Thompson, became a fan and said, let's get him on the card. So myself and Mick Francis from Tasman Fighters made it happen, and Queensbury come on and said, we'd like him to fight Ellis Zorro. Would you be interested in that fight? And we said, yeah, no problem. Like, he'll fight anyone. But just to let you know, he has a mandatory, and that's Maris Bradis. So we spoke to Maris Bradis. He wasn't quite ready for December 23rd, but we agreed with Maris Bradis to fight him in March. And we said to Maris Bradis, do you mind if we fight Zorro on December 23rd? And he said, no, as long as we've got our contract in place, no problem. Wasserman Boxing, who promote Bradis, said, fine. Everybody was happy. We went to the IBF and we said, deal with Bradis is done, but he won't be ready till March, so we'd like to have an interim fight. It's Ellis Zorro, everyone's happy, no one's objecting. Is that okay? And they said, no. And we said, well, why not? And obviously, look, they've got their rules, and I respect that. You know, Ellis Zorro would have to be considered for ranking. He'd already had an exception against Jordan Thompson. But I just feel like common sense has to prevail at some point. Like, if Bradis doesn't care and his date's set, if the promoters don't care, if Zorro, like, no one objected. I feel like rules are there and in place to protect people who might have opportunities taken away from them. This didn't affect anybody. But they made their decision. And this financially is a life-changing opportunity for Jai. And you can't let this kid lose out on this opportunity. So, disappointingly for him, because he worked so hard to win that belt and it was a dream, he vacated the IBF and he will defend his Ring Magazine belt. Belts do matter, but everybody knows Jai is the best cruiserweight in the world. So, does it? I don't know. In this instance, we had to do what was right for him.
The best cruiserweight in the world?
Well, unquestioned.
Aside from Benn-Eubank, probably?
I mean, he's...
Since the jungle, I mean...
Listen, the worst thing to happen, right? You know, Benn-Eubank will be here this week. Might not interview you now because he's so big time. My daughter thinks Tony Benn-Eubank is like a legend. Like, Dad, you know Tony Benn-Eubank, don't you? I'm like, it's like Parsons. Like, I mean, obviously that's a bit disrespectful to Tony, but he's like
Parsons and Benn-Eubank.
So the other day, he phoned me. He phoned me yesterday. And I'm telling him about my daughter, right? And he's like, oh, what? And like, she just thinks that Benn-Eubank is so, oh, he's so funny. Oh, he's great. Oh, I'm like, anyway, we can give him some right stick on Saturday.
Absolutely. Good opportunity for Lyndon Arthur against Dimitri Bivol. Tough fight. But
yeah, I mean, look, Bivol's been out for over a year, so that's the one saving grace for Lyndon. I just think much too good. I really like Lyndon. I love Pat, you know, all those boys. But if I'm honest, I think it gets stopped inside 6 rounds. But if he's rusty and Lyndon can get into the fight, hopefully he can cause him some problems. But, you know, I think Dimitri is a pound-for-pound great fighter.
Okay, have you met up with Frank Warren yet?
Not yet. I'm sure we will later.
We're having a bit of dinner later. Yeah?
No, I'm actually I'm going Nando's with Dev. I actually am. What?
Oh, yeah?
I am.
All right, you and Dev are going Nando's. Yeah. Right. Why isn't Frank coming with you then?
No, I like Dev. I didn't think Frank would like the old Nando's. Thought he was more of a... There's a lot of lovely restaurants in Riyadh, by the way. Pop-ups and all sorts.
Are you going to spend a bit of time with him this week, though?
Who?
With Big Frank?
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, you know, obviously we've only met once and we seem to get on all right. And George we speak to a lot, doing a lot of business together. Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? It's weird, but it's good.
It actually feels like... It's a bit weird to come to an event where you're not doing all the work. Do you know what I mean? And you've got, obviously, we've got a lot of fighters on the card, but it's quite nice, actually, just to rock up.
It's weird. It's just, yeah, it's so good, though. It's so good that after all these years
I think what His Excellency has done with bringing all the promoters together, there's never been anything like this. You know, there are 12 promoters working on this card. Like, in some way or the other. Some have got B-side, some have got main event, some have got, like... But it is quite unique. And it just shows you... Look, obviously, financially, it's a great opportunity for the fighters and us, the promoters. But it feels pretty good. Like, to see boxing come together. And especially off the back of last week with Sonny and Bam. That was another sort of feel-good night of just what happens when the best fight's the best, when we get it right.
which brings me on to my next thing. Well, it's good that you and Frank... No. Just a few more, Edward. Come on. Yeah, it's just like hurrying me up now. Do you know what I mean? This is... You've got nothing to do anyway.
We're going to the workout.
Yeah, that's not for ages away. Anyway, your old mate, Mr. Ellaby, had a few more comments, didn't he? In regards to your comments about reaching out to Gervonta Davis.
I mean, I don't, like... Someone sent me a tweet that Ellaby put out, because I don't even read his tweets. It's like me reading Leonard Ellaby's tweets is like me reading... Who's irrelevant that we know? I don't know. Like, actually, if you go onto Parsons' Twitter, it's like, just got in an Uber, man has Bluetooth and something, like, it's just, and it's like, so that's how I feel when I see Ellaby's tweet. Just look at it and go, like, what do you do? Right? You're not officially involved with Gervonta Davis in any capacity. He's left Mayweather Promotions. You do not have a TV deal. You do not have any fighters. You used to try and take the mickey out of DAZN, and Gervonta Davis just boxed on DAZN. Deontay Wilder is boxing on DAZN this weekend. Everybody's boxing on DAZN. And now you want to have a go at me for, what was it for? For reaching out to Gervonta direct. Tough shit. I do what I want. I ain't going to reach out to you, am I? What's it got to do with you? Nothing. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, he's more of a fan, I think, now. You know, the fans that have got a lot to say on the situation. It's like that, you know.
I'm assuming Tank hasn't replied back to you. Are you?
I spoke to him yesterday, actually. Not really. I don't post DMs like Gervonta does, but it wasn't actually about the deal. We were just talking in general. But I don't... You see, what people try and do to Gervonta, you see, I'll actually say on record, I probably said, you know, in my comments, do you remember where I said about he's not a deep thinker? Yeah. Do you remember? Yeah. And that pissed him off, because people, I know how things work. Everybody, especially Leonard and those guys, will try and get Tank against me. Do you know what I mean? So, that Eddie Hearn, he's not, he's just, he wants to rob you, or he wants to do this, or he would never pay you right, or this and that. So when I said something like that, have you seen what Eddie Hearn said? Man, that guy, he can't be trusted. This is how boxing works, right? And what I said was, I was asked a question about Gervonta Davis against Ryan Garcia, where I said Gervonta Davis will win by stoppage. And I said one of the reasons that makes Gervonta so good and so dangerous is he's not a deep thinker, right? And what I mean by that, he's not an overthinker. But then I said he's not articulate. And that was actually the wrong word to use. And when I spoke to Gervonta, I actually said to him, because he wasn't happy with my comments, and I stand by my comments. And what I mean by that is you're a dangerous guy if you don't give a fuck. And he don't give a fuck. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's not going to sit there and go, oh, I've got the fight on Saturday. Don't know, this is a dangerous fight. He's a savage, right? What makes him what he is. But I shouldn't have used that word, actually. It was the wrong word to use. And for that, I apologise. And I did actually say to him, I actually shouldn't have used that word. But I stand by the not a deep thinker, not an overthinker. And that's what makes him what he is, which is a brilliant fighter and a savage. So on me wanting to speak to him to make him an offer, he doesn't have a deal. Why would I, in my opinion, the number one promoter in the world, the biggest promoter in the world, not reach out to one of the biggest stars in the world who doesn't have a contract to offer him an absolute shitload of money? What are you afraid of? And it is like, I'm not, he said, I said, do you want to talk? No. That in itself shows you that he's actually getting ill advice, in my opinion. You don't even know what my offer is. But I said to him, we'll talk face to face. I respect the guy. I think he's a great fighter. Respect him as a fighter. I watched him win his first world title against Pedraza. Brilliant. But I just wanted to pay him a load of money. Is that such a bad thing? You know, I would like to make Haney against Tank. But now, I believe we're going to make Haney against Garcia. So let's see if we can do that. And then maybe the Tank fight will come later. That's where.
Okay, thank you. Right, give me the summary of the collapse of Benn-Eubank, Edward.
Chris Eubank wanted too much money. Don't know what more to tell you.
When you say a lot more money, obviously I'm not going to ask. Wanted too much money. So something that you couldn't get to. Okay, because you didn't feel that he was worth that, or you didn't think...
Because to get to those levels, he would have to take a position in the show. And the pay-per-view would need to hit those levels. But he has to be a believer in that and take that. So there's a massive guarantee, but the number that he wanted was only achievable if it did so many buys. And for that, he would have to buy into the belief that it would. That's all. It's no big deal. We know the numbers like the back of our hand. It's massive. And it could have actually hit the numbers that he wants. I think it probably would. But that comes with a joint effort from everybody to hit those numbers. And unfortunately, we couldn't get there. So Conor Benn will fight February the 3rd. His opponent will be announced this week.
Where will he fight?
You will find out. But he will be fighting on February the 3rd.
Okay. What did you make of Eubank's tweets? Well, the tweet to his promoters, to Sauerland's, in regards to the fight with Janibek not happening, but he went public with that. I think it's been sorted out now, and he is now fighting Janibek, correct?
I don't know. I mean, the Janibek fight is a terrible fight for him. But then didn't he get mandated for the IBO or something?
Against Etenoza.
Who?
Etenoza?
Yeah.
How would you pronounce his name?
No idea who it is. Show me his name.
This guy.
Oh, Etenoza Oliha.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe he'll fight Etenoza Oliha. I don't know. I don't believe he'll fight Janibek. So we'll see. But like I said, look, maybe Benn-Eubank gets done for early summer. But we've had to take the bull by the horns. Conor Benn will fight February the 3rd, and we will announce this week.
So, are you telling me this fight is never going to happen now, yeah?
No, I hope so, but I can't speak on behalf of Chris Eubank Jr. I hope so. It's madness, mental if he doesn't. But he's got his own ideas. He'll have people in his ear. You know, someone who used to work in insurance or something, I don't know, like telling him it's worth X million. What can you do?
And the current situation with Conor Benn and the board?
Waiting on an appeal date that we expect to win, like we won the last one.
Okay. Ahead of the 3rd?
No idea, probably. Hopefully. It's been waiting long enough.
Okay. All right, I think for the moment we're good.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I'm just checking I've not missed anything really.
I like the way you make notes.
No, I don't really make notes. I just don't want to...
You don't really seem like a make notes guy.
Yeah, I don't really make notes. I don't have a script. That's probably why I'm so terrible at what I do. What trainers are they, Edward?
Off-white. Do you like them?
Yeah.
They're quite nice, aren't they?
Yeah, I think your mate will have something to say about them later as well.
Who's that, Parsons?
Are you making deals now? What's going on? You've been like a little bit distracted every like 6-7 minutes.
I've got my WhatsApp is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 WhatsApps.
Can you just read us 2 of the 9 people that have messaged you on WhatsApp? Don't read the message, but who?
George Warren.
Okay.
Frank Smith. Yeah. Sean Palmer, our lawyer. Scott Hamilton, our head of media. Global Fights Group, which is basically where we make all the fights for all our cards around the world. Quarantine Poker. That is my group chat with one group of my friends who I'll never get to see. Because when we were in quarantine, we were playing poker online. Karen, my PA. And George Groves.
Oh, 'cause didn't you win Promoter of the Year on the George Groves podcast? Congratulations, mate.
Thanks, mate. It means a lot. So that was it.
Okay. Last one.
Yeah.
What's happening with the tattoo?
I've had it done.
No. Go on.
Yeah.
Bottling out of it.
Can we get him done in Saudi? Is
No.
there any tattooists in Saudi?
Let's not do it in Saudi because you've promised
Can
it.
do anything on Christmas Day?
Probably. If it's for you, he probably would. Yeah.
No.
So I can slap you then.
No. Put a time limit on it. January the 31st.
Okay. All right.
No, hang on.
Yeah.
What? So if I haven't had it by January 31st, you get to slap me?
Yeah. Slap.
No, not a palm.
All right, slap. Open palm. I can, yeah?
I was actually up for it. You know when we done that interview? When you left, I thought, do you know what? I'm actually going to get it done. Because I told you a story about my old man, didn't I? I said it in the thing. He had a couple of tattoos at like 65. I don't know what he was doing. His head fell off. But when I finished that interview, I thought 100% I'm getting it done. But the moment's passed, so I've just got to get it in my head now.
Okay. I'll keep asking you every time I interview you, and you can back out and take the slap if you want.
Okay.
All right. Edward, thank you very much. Are you excited for 2024? Are you actually going to do something in 2024?
I'm tired. Am I actually going to do something in 2024? Have you seen the run we've been on? There's never been anything like it in boxing. Never.
Are you actually going to do something? No, but 2024, are you going fully in, balls deep, as I say?
I will be honest.
I am tired, but I'm going to try, yeah. It's your job.
When have I ever let anybody down?
I'm just saying. 2024, not one UK pay-per-view. But anyway, it is what it is. 2023, rather, yeah.
Sorry, if I do a load of pay-per-views, everyone moans. Now I didn't do one, no one.
No one's going to moan, Edward.
I promise you we'll do a UK pay-per-view in 2024.
Just one.
At least one.
We want 3.
Actually, hold on. When you say not doing a pay-per-view, what about Saturday?
It's in Saudi Arabia. I said, this is all
UK.
what I said. You did Haney, you've done pay-per-views.
But he's AJ.
Eddie, thank you very much. And yes, can't wait to get going today. Yeah. Woo!
I'm fine.